Alrighty, so today for week 3, we have dubbed it Toolkit Part 1. And we're going to focus mainly on content creation and ways that you can share information with your students. Right? So we're going to go over a syllabus module, creating content pages, managing course files, the inline video audio tool, and groups. So do you guys see the page with Brightspace or my Google Doc?
I see the Google Doc.
Okay. Switch it up then. Alrighty. So the first thing is that your content lives in 2 different places in your course. So they're basically just links all to the same place. So on your course homepage, down here we have this course content at a glance widget. And all of this information will automatically populate based on the things that you have put in your course. So you won't edit this. These are all of the modules that you have for your course that you make. So currently in Moodle, all of the modules generally like populate week 1, week 2, the dates. So if you, the first time you bring your course over, you might want to leave those. The dates here don't automatically update in the title. So you might want to just pick like generic names like week 1, week 2, week 3. So that way you don't have to update them every time. Also, eventually, when we are fully out of hybrid and back in a regular course, you might want to organize it by topic or chapter. Rather, you might not need like a week-by-week breakdown as we do as much in strictly online settings. So the way that you will actually add all of this information here or access it, you can click on it through here and see the items that have already been put there. But when you want to go to actually edit it and change it and see it overall, up top here, we have the content tab. So when you click on that content tab, it will take you to a general page. The first time that you come to this page ever, it will take you to this overview tab. All right. Currently, it used to say overview. This part's going to be slightly confusing. I apologize in advance. It used to say overview. I customized the language so it would say syllabus. But Brightspace is in the middle of a kind of redesign of this to make it even more user-friendly than it currently is. And when they switch to that new version, which is a little ways down the line, so like, I mean, like it could be like 2 years down the line, but not anytime soon, this syllabus tab isn't going to copy over nicely. It's not part of the new experience. So rather than encouraging you to put your syllabus here on the syllabus tab as it exists in our version, we're trying to prepare for the future by creating a syllabus module. So like the very first thing you should do in your course is you'll go to add a module, you'll type syllabus, and hit enter. When that module opens, you'll be able to add your syllabus file here. So you can either drag and drop your syllabus, right? So if you have a file picker open, type item like this, and you have a file, you can just click and drag on it till it turns blue, and it'll give you the option to copy, and you let go. And there it is. The other option, if you're not a drag and dropper, if that's not your favorite way to go, is you can hit the upload create button and then upload files. And that'll take you through the usual pick offering. So you'd say my computer and then upload, and you can go through this way and say, and locate the file that is your syllabus. Are there any questions on that? All right. So basically, oh, What's up, Chris?
I have a question. When I copied my course over and I copied the syllabus over, it added new things under the table of contents for each one of the parts of the interactive syllabus. So is it better to just delete that and just start over?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I will. Yeah. When I took one look, I thought so. Okay.
Yes. I also did that once. And remember to delete a module. If you have it clicked on it, you can hit the down arrow, the context menu, and scroll down to delete module. If you have anything extra that came over. All right. Any other questions on the syllabus? I'll even let you in on a little secret that I'm working on trying to make a way so you don't have to email your syllabi to your chairs, that they could just like pull a report. Hence why I'm telling everybody to use a syllabus thing. And it makes it easier for students if every course they go into has the syllabus in the same spot. So a couple reasons, but behind the scenes things are happening over here. So the two other things on this page currently are bookmarks and course schedule. The bookmarks are just for you. So if there's a page that you want to bookmark, something that you go to frequently in the course, you can bookmark it and it will show up here. And basically, anytime you are actually on a piece of your content, or a student has the opportunity to do this too. Anytime you're on a piece of your content, there's a little bookmark tab here. So you click it, now it's bookmarked, and say like, I need to come back to this page a lot. That page is now bookmarked. So rather than me having to like scroll through my courses or click through and find it, I can just say, hey, bookmarks, there it is. The other item down here is course schedule. This area is also automatically populated based on due dates that you set. So you don't add things here directly, but when you add the things in your course and you set due dates, they will automatically pull up here. The nice thing is the upcoming tells you things in the week that are coming up to 7 days. So students can look ahead and see, here's what's coming up in the next 7 days. They can look at the full schedule, which shows all of your due dates for the course coming up as far as they have them. Here you go. All of them. Oh, even the old ones are here. So due dates for everything. And if they have missed something, it'll actually show up with another tab here that says overdue. So like if they don't have something marked complete past the due date, it'll show up in the overdue tab for them as another friendly reminder. Hey, you missed this. All right. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Kat,
If I put everything from my Moodle course into the course I'm teaching this year in Brightspace. And there's a lot of things that I'm doing differently because last year I was in person and this year it's primarily on Zoom. So there's all these assignments that I'm not giving as assignments and a lot that's totally irrelevant. So how do I make a lot of that not show to students?
so when you're on any of your modules, like if you have a whole module of things that you don't want to show, you can click on it and there's this little eye icon that you can click back and forth. If there was just like a couple things here listed and you're like, I don't want them to see that piece, you'll click your context arrow, edit properties in place, and then you can.
Yeah, but I did make all the modules invisible, but when the students went to assignments, they were still seeing assignments in the invisible modules.
I'll have to look at it more specifically, but they shouldn't be showing.
Okay, thanks.
I'll look. If we go back, so up here you have this table of contents tab. This is the tab that's most similar to Moodle. So there's an expand all button and a collapse all button but it'll show all of your modules on one page all together. So if you expand all, this is kind of what our Moodle pages look like now. Everything is all on one page in a big row. So if you do have any students who are like, I miss Moodle, this is hard for me. So far, they have been few, which I am grateful for. But you can direct them to this page because it is a Moodle-like experience. All right. And once again, everything that you do here automatically populates from the modules that you add. So you won't be working per se on the table of contents page, at least in terms of creating. There is a nice feature here called bulk edit. So if you click on bulk edit, the editing turns on for all of them, that properties in place feature basically. So you can go through and do the visibility of all of them. If you want to add due dates, there's also a way to like change all of your due dates at once. But if you wanted to go through and add dates or restrictions as for each item, you could. Or if you're like, I need to hide, like Lynn, it sounded like you needed to hide like 10 items like throughout your course. This is a good way to just have it all on and go through and be like, all right, I need to hide this one. I need to hide this one, but not the next one.
Mhm.
The only thing that you have to do is remember to hit done editing at the top. So, but that bulk editing feature is there. All right, any questions so far? All right. So here I'm going to go into this nonsense module that I made for my students, and they're like, what's happening with this? And I typed item wrong. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is the upload files. So, right, that's anything that you already have file-wise that you like to give them. PowerPoints, PDFs, anything like that. The nice thing is that they'll open up directly in this page. So here's a link to a Google page, I think, or a Google Doc, maybe. Nope, I lied. I wanted to find the Google Doc one. I don't remember what my own content is. Oh, here it is. So this is a Google Doc link. And you'll notice the nice thing is that it opens up right in the page. So students don't have to have multiple tabs open. And if you are familiar with Google Docs and do Google Doc sharing, it's super cool because you can actually edit it right here. So if you wanted them to collaborate on something, you can do it without having to leave the page. But so you can add links, PDFs, files, whichever. And like I said, they open up right in the system. So it's nice for the students because they don't have to leave or have like 10 tabs open to get to them. The other thing that we have, all right, video or audio. So if you have any videos or audios that you want to add, you could. The names are fairly self-explanatory, but this one is my favorite, create a file. So create a file takes you to basically an open text area page. But we have these cool templates built in, so it's a nice way to make your course look fancy without having to do lots of work. So this was where our Black History Month template was for Brightspace. So you can see all I did was click on the template and it made it look fancy like. But there's all these different templates in here for different things. So you kind of want to take the time to like explore them and see which ones would work best for you. A couple of the ones that I like, there's a course introduction page. So basically you can just like type in here a little bit of overview information and it comes up with a nice picture in the background. A module introduction page. So it'll come up, here's the module introduction, learning objectives, the cool numbers, and you can type whichever ones you'd like. And it has our logo down on the bottom. But these are all here, and once you add the template to your page, it's basically just, you know, you type and replace. If you have something copied from somewhere else, you can just paste it in, and it keeps the template format. So they look nice. The only thing to be wary of with the templates is if you see already, like I did this, I changed the text. If you decide after the fact that you want to change your template, it will delete everything that you had and replace it with the new template. So you have to be real sure about your template first. So some of them down here, there's a video lecture template. So here's the video lecture. It gives you a little video, directions on how to replace the video. But a couple different ones. Conclusion. Let's see, where is it down here? Accordions. I think I have to fix this one. Don't use the accordion ones. But like I say, so you can go through them all and find one that works for the content that you have and then fill it in.
I have a question. So
Yes.
if you have a video or like a lecture video already created, rather than just uploading the file, you can upload it to one of the document templates and it just looks a little bit nicer and you can add content around the video. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So here, I'll show.
Yeah,
I
you're
have
going
an
to save
example.
it so then to see what it looks like.
So here, go to this one. So this is an HTML template page that I did. Put in a random picture at the top. But here we have like the continuous probability functions. I have my video in the middle. So I gave like an intro to the topic, the first video, and then it's kind of broken up, but you can have multiple videos on one page then, and then a couple other items. Now from this, so on our side, like when you see it, I can see these pieces down here. So if I wanted to edit the page, I can click edit. There's also a completion summary down here. So I can see all of my students who looked at this. I can see all of my students who didn't look at this. So if they're struggling in a certain area of the quiz, I can be like, well, you didn't watch my videos. But yes, those are all there. But yeah, at the end, you just hit save and you end up with a page like that, like I just showed you. Are there any other questions? So one of the other things that I would say is nice, basically anywhere that you can do text. So I think we briefly mentioned it with announcements, but another page that you can do here, if we were to pick one, right? So module introduction, like maybe I don't want to use it for learning objectives. Maybe I'm going to change it and say like activities for the week. There's a button called a quick link button, and it's anywhere that you can type, and it is this little link icon. So a quick link will link to anything else in your course. So maybe I want to make sure that one of the things they have to do this week is Excel Practicum 1. So this will give them a nice list of everything they have to do for the week. And if they were to click on this directly, it'll take them to that assignment in the course. So we can, and you can do it for other resources. You can do it for quizzes, anything here. If you have things on your Google Drive that you wanted to share with students, like a file, you could also just do a quick link to that item as well. It'll ask you to log in. So now I can see everything in my Google Drive and say, all right, I want them to see this. Select, and now it's a link to a file in my Google Drive. So if you were to update it If you were to update it between semesters, you don't have to update your link because it's the Google Drive file. So you'd only have to change it in one spot instead of two. Like if you had saved it as a PDF or uploaded it to your course. By doing the Google Drive file link, if you update the file, it's always the current version of the file in your course. So that's the handy dandy quick link button. That is my favorite. There's also even the option with the quick link button, you could schedule a Google Meet like this. So if you were doing an asynchronous class, or if you wanted to set up like a virtual office hour, you could hit Google Meet. It'll let you in. And then it's a link to a Google Meet right there. So you could say like, I'll be on at this time, whichever. But the quick link button definitely warrants some exploration to see what will work best for you for. The other button that we have here in anywhere you're editing. So once again, we're talking about it mostly in content here, but you can also use these buttons in announcements and emails, wherever, is the Insert Stuff button. So the Insert Stuff button lets you do just that, insert stuff. So you can do My Computer, which is, you know, the files on your computer, course offering files. So basically every time you teach this course, like if you upload something to the course, it saves it in your course files. So if you were to copy this from semester to semester, there's a button that you check that says like include course files. So eventually you end up with a copy of all of your old files. So like these are all the files that I uploaded in the fall. So it kind of is almost like its own backup repository of your course. So if you were to upload a new file, you'd still probably be able to access the old one in your course files. Also, we'll talk more about course files in a little bit, because if you are that person who has all of your files for your course in a neatly organized folder on your computer, you can actually drag and drop it all to your course at one time. And then just go through course files so they're always there. So we'll go over that in a minute. But back to Insert Stuff. Next up is the Learning Repository. So if you attended any of the Faculty Senate meetings where Amanda spoke about like library resources, or maybe it was Academic Affairs. I think it was Faculty Senate though. She said that they were using Brightspace to create resources for faculty. Blank tickets. All right, we'll search for A. So if I search for library, you can start to see things that are public and you can add them to your course. So if you click on something like this that the library made and I click next, it'll show me a link to it and it'll insert the link. Some things will give you the option to insert as a dynamic link. So if the library, who are the owners of this, were to ever update it, yours would automatically update also. There's also the option for some things that you copy it. So if somebody else were like, because you wouldn't want it to change mid-semester, like if you were using a quiz or a module, you probably wouldn't want that to change mid-semester. So you'd make a stagnant copy and say, I want to copy this. I don't want the dynamic link to it because I want it to be the same for the duration of the course. But we insert it and it will give a link to this there. Our learning repository doesn't have a lot in it currently, but we're hoping to expand that more. You can also publish things to the learning repository yourself, and tag them. So eventually the goal would be to have people publish things like for their department, or like if you found a cool article and you're like, this would be helpful for everybody in my department, you could publish it and then other people can go in and search like a tag and say like, I'm going to search the music department, and you could see resources related to that. Next up is the two video note options. So right now in Moodle, right, you can insert a video in your discussions or in a page, and you have, I think it's like a 2 or 3 minute time limit. Here is that same thing, except it's called a video note, and it is 30 minutes. So when it opens up, it has this little recorder window. You click new recording, you go through, hello. When you hit stop, it'll automatically preview if you wanted to watch it again. Next here. And the nice thing about this that we don't have with the ones we have now in Moodle is that you can actually title it and give it a description and reuse it or search for it later. So, you know, you could do like, this is my chapter 1 intro for philosophy 113. So that way, when you teach that course again, maybe you're like, oh, I haven't taught it in a while, but you can search for it. Or if you have multiple sections, you can search for it and put it in your multiple sections. If you enter your language, you can also check automatically generate captions, which helps support UDL and accessibility. When you click next, it takes a second to process it. You can keep hitting refresh until it shows up, or I don't like to rewatch myself and don't care, so I just hit insert. And it'll stay like this for a minute, but eventually I promise it will process and is fine. The other option, like I said, I'll show you real quick, is the video note search. So if you know the name of it, you can search for it, or if you were to tag it with like a class name like 155, you could do that. I also use it, like I give feedback to my students on videos sometimes. So I tried to tag it in a way that it would be searchable. So for like you guys, if you have to do like, you know, FARs or tenure and promotion and whatnot, or demonstrate something with students, this is a good way to have like video evidence of that. You can see I tried a couple naming conventions here. But afterwards, so like you can just click on it, click next. The preview comes up automatically. So if you wanted to rewatch it and make sure it's the right one, insert, there it is, fancy, fancy. I'm going to check the hide from users button. So like if you're working on something and you're like, I'm not ready for the students to see it yet, you'll want to check the hide from users button, because otherwise it'll give them a notification that new content has been added to the course. So that way they don't miss anything. Guess we'll create a new file. This one's awful looking, but we got the point across. All right. Save and close. So when you save it, it takes you directly to the page, so you can see a preview of it, what you put down, if anything's in the wrong spot, like how I accidentally put my video in the middle of my text that I'd want to fix. And then down at the bottom, you can check now it's not visible. If I wanted to edit it again, I can edit it. If you wanted to download it like as a PDF, not that your videos would play, but if you have the text and other things. Down here, you'll see it says required automatic. So everything that is defaulted to be marked as required at this point. So you can change it to be manual, meaning that the student would have to check it off himself, or you could mark it as not required. If we think back to our course homepage in that My Content module, right here, all of these circles fill in based on completion. So by having it set as required, their circle's not going to check off until they've looked at it. So here's a page that I made. It's an overview. It's got their to-do list for the next 2 weeks while we're focusing on this chapter. But now if I were to go back, week 3, 4. and go into week 3, 4, you can now see that it's checked off. So even though it's not anything crazy, it's a nice way to kind of make sure that the students are going to everything, because everybody wants to fill in their little circles. And you can see like my overall circle for this week now has a little bit filled out. So they kind of have an idea of how much they still need to at least go through. So same things would happen here. Like if I click on it, it'll come back and have a little check mark. But like I said, that's defaulted to all be on currently. If you want to turn it off, you can, but that's up to you. Any questions so far? All right. Let's see, if we go over to the tools area and click on course admin. I'll just throw out when in default, if you can't find anything, go to tools course admin, because it will list everything for your course nicely that you can access. So if you're like, I can't find it, go here and it will most likely be here. But next up, I'm going to go to manage files, because this is where all of your course files live. So like I said, if you're the person who has everything super nicely, neatly organized in a folder, you can actually come here, you can click upload, and you can just copy that whole folder in to the course all at one time. So then when you're going to upload a file or something, or a quick link, you could choose course files and they're all here already uploaded. So it's a nice way to put them all there at once. I'm never that organized, so I cannot do that. But if you are, it's a nice option to get them there. Any questions on that? All right. And this week, we're also going to do groups. So if you go to tools, we have groups here. All right, and we end up on the groups page. So the first thing you have to do is create a category for the groups to live in. So we could do new category. And my category name is I need final project groups. All right. If I want to give it a description and describe what it's for, you could. I think my name in this case is self-explanatory, so my students won't need any description. But then we have enrollment types. All right. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can enroll students in the groups. So first up is number of groups, and it says no auto enrollments. So that means that you have to manually put the students into those groups. All right. Next up, we have groups of a number. So you could say, I want groups of 3. The system automatically puts them in groups of 3. Then we have number of groups. So same thing as before, except instead of you placing every student into their groups, you'd say, all right, I just need, 5 groups, put my students in, and it'll do it for you. These next 2 couple are my favorite because they are self-enrollment options. So you can do groups of number, right? So you can say students have to enroll in a group up to a group of 3. You could say I need the students to be in 3 groups and they have to pick one of the groups. You could do number of groups with a capacity enrollment to kind of keep it split out. So if you were to click on it, I could say that, there should be, too far over. I want 5 groups with no more than 4 people each. So that way you don't end up with, one group of 6 and another group of 2, because it'll force that other one to move some over. Restrict enrollments too. So this is only really if you need to do groups within groups. So if you have a cross-listed section, that's where you might want to do it. If you wanted to keep your grad students in a group with grad students and undergrads with undergrads for a group project, depending on situation, maybe that would be a place where you wanted to do that, but you don't need to. And then group for prefix is whatever you want it to show up like in front of the group. So like my group prefix is going to be final group because it'll come up as final group 1, final group 2, final group 3, final group 4, etc. So I'm actually going to change this to 2. And I think I only need 12 groups. But, all right. So, because I'm actually going to use this for my final project. So mine's saying that I need no more than a pair because they can work with a partner. And I only have 23 students in my class. So shouldn't need more than 12 groups. And then down here we have advanced properties. So set enrollment start date, set self-enrollment expiration date. So basically you can say students can start enrolling from this date forward. If you're planning ahead, you might need that. I don't need it because I'm not planning ahead. It's going to be now. But then you can also set a self-enrollment expiration date. So like I'm going to say you have a week to enroll in a group. And then if they don't enroll by that time, it'll just automatically put them in a group. So it gives them the option of a choice. But if they don't make that choice, then here you are, have a group. And then down here is the option to set up a discussion or assignment for those groups. Now you can create the assignment or a discussion first, but if you haven't made it yet, this is a way to make it as you go, or like for the group specifically. So you would basically just check off the box for what you want the group to do. And you could check up both. Like you could say, I want them to have a discussion and an assignments area. Maybe you're going to have them have the discussion to like communicate with and plan with, and the assignment, they're just going to submit their final project. So maybe you do need both. Maybe you only need the assignment and you don't need them to have a discussion that you can see. So either way, if you have it checked off, it'll give you additional options. And you can say, create a new topic. If you have a form that's in there, you can or you can attach to an existing topic. All of mine already have group restrictions and such, so I don't have that option, but you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to uncheck it. I guess I'll leave it checked for now. All right. And then I want to set up a file submission assignment. If you were having them do a group presentation, you'll notice you can also say like it's observed in person. So you could say maybe they're doing the presentation, but that way that'll still create the assignment for you. So you'd have somewhere to mark a grade. All right. Oh, sorry, guys. I thought the dinging was going to stop. All right. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Oh, let's see. Sorry, guys. I lost my screen for you. I got it. All right, so I'll leave both of them on so you can see the options that come up. When you hit save, it'll basically walk you through those settings for discussions and for an assignment. So first it's coming up with the discussion. So you can choose, do you want to create one topic per group or create one topic with threads separated by group? That's the one I recommend. It makes it a lot easier for you to read, and it looks cleaner on the page. But here's where you could give the discussion or the description, you know, use this to and then there's a create and next button or add another. So if you wanted them to have multiple discussion forums for their group, you would hit add another. Otherwise, you can do create and next. And it takes you to the assignments because I also checked off that I wanted a group assignment. So I can type in the name of it. If I had any instructions and attachments, if you wanted to give them a file, a link, an example, whichever. You can record audio, record video. You'll see it's defaulted to be a group assignment and with my final project groups. I scroll down, it gives you all of the settings for it. If you want to keep just one file or unlimited. And we're going to go more over these settings more, I think in 2 weeks. But you can go through, you set all your settings, and at the end, you have the option once again to either just create the assignment or add another assignment. So maybe this group, if you did it at the beginning of the semester, maybe the group's going to work together throughout the semester and have multiple assignments. When you're done, go ahead and click create, and you can see it'll give you an overview of what was created for your groups. So we have one forum topic was created and one assignment was created. And you click done, and it goes back to your groups. And you can see now we have the discussion. It gives you a review. You can see the discussion. You can see the assignment. Hit save. And now it's there for the groups. So, any questions on that group setup and how you can link it to assignments or a forum? All right. Now, you might already have, maybe you've made groups, right? And later you decide, oh, now I want this group to do a group project. Now I want this group to do a group discussion. And that's really going to come up in the assignment and discussion settings. So you don't have to know the group first. If you do, this is a nice way to kind of get it all in one process. But the other way, having the assignment or the discussion first and then adding a group, will cover when we go over assignments and discussions. I'll also add here that you can also set up private groups, or like a private journaling space for students. So I'm going to call this one journaling. And there's another enrollment type that we didn't talk about, which is this one down here at the bottom, single user member specific groups. So single user just means that automatically puts everybody in their own group. And for this, I'd set up a discussion and I'd say it's a new topic. Right. And then for this group, I would leave it like this, create one topic with the thread separated by group. Like I said, I think it keeps it cleaner, but it's just a journaling, and I'm going to take out the word group, journaling discussion. So this is only visible to you. Now, take time to reflect each week. I've done it before and asked them to share how statistics affected their life each week. Like, where'd you see statistics in the news, or things like that, or like, where's another article that it came across? And it's private and only you and the student can see it, but it's a nice way to do it, like with the click of a button, because I just hit create and next. One forum was created. I'll hit save. And now you can see all of my students are in their own group. Well, I didn't need to click on my group name. All right. Are there any questions about groups? All right. Are there any other questions about content? In general, the templates. Remember when you click upload, create, upload files. So all of the first half of this list are like content items. So files, video, audio. Create a file is the one with the template. Upload file is the ones on your computer. Add from manage files. So if you're that person who uploaded everything to your course already. The LOR is the Learning Object Repository. So I told you there's not really a whole lot in there currently, but we're planning on building on that. And there are a couple of the library resources there, so you can get them. And then this last one, new SCORM API, you really won't use that a lot unless you have something from a publisher. But the publisher would provide you some sort of resource and tell you it's a SCORM package or an API package. But generally, you won't use those. And then, yes.
What would be the equivalent in Brightspace to a Moodle discussion and answer forum?
So down here, you would do upload, create, discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of these items down here at the bottom are ones that we're going to talk about next week. I think they're all next week. The assignment, checklist, discussion, quiz, and survey. So those are all more of our interactive elements. So like this week is everything more where you can say, hey, here is content. Here are things for you to look at, versus next week is more, here's how you interact and complete and submit things.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anything else?
I have just a general overall question on, I guess, just our education going forward and our use of Brightspace. And so what I mean by that is, let's just say, next academic year, we are back to normal, hopefully. And if you have an in-person class, you are in person. To what extent are the other faculty using Brightspace? And so I don't know if maybe this is just for everybody on the call here to give your opinion on that, but like how much content would you put on Brightspace when you actually have a full in-person class? Like, are we encouraged to use Brightspace for everything and still have recorded lecture videos and online content? Or are we kind of relying on Brightspace, kind of how I used to rely on Moodle, where I would post my syllabus, I would maybe have a couple assignments for them, but the majority of content was really delivered in person. So I'm wondering if maybe of that, if there is an answer.
I think for us, because we are such a traditional foundation school, that it's definitely going to be more towards having your content in person, unless you take a flipped model approach, which we do have some faculty who have done that already and still have all of the lectures, on the LMS, and really just use that time to focus more on interaction or reviewing it type items. So, I mean, part of it's really going to come down to your approach to teaching the class, but I think the university expectation will not be to keep all of your content on the LMS. I think that there is going to be the continued expectation for snow days, that you should be prepared to have something online and not lose the hours per se. I think students really appreciate having all of their grades on the LMS and something that, they can constantly see and check on throughout. But I wouldn't think everybody would expect anything to this standard. I'll be honest, I'm hoping that a lot more people use it, even like you used to use it, Amy, just kind of as here's maybe where we keep the syllabus. If I gave out a handout or mentioned a website in class, I'll put it on there so you can go back and review it. But because we had so many people before who were not doing that. When pandemic happened, we had a number of faculty that had never logged into the LMS. And so